everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Reductions. Today, Bankrupt joined again by Jake and Adam.
What's going on, y'all?
Hey, everyone.
And today's matchup is, well, it's Jake versus Adam. Adam has brought us back Raditz. Which take is this? Is this green-blue, pure green, green-black?
This is green-black still, but I did take out the Power Rangers and went more traditional with some pure hand destruction into the warp.
Nice. And Jake has brought us back Trunks Vegeta, which, as we've seen before, it's a really good deck, especially with the unnecessary add-ons from the draft box cards, or not draft pack, but the dash packs cards. So yeah, let's go buttons, links. Let's get into it.
You say unnecessary add-ons, I say new toys.
Look, that Z
it really is a love letter to the deck.
Yeah, it definitely was.
That Z Awaken is just really good, and the fact that you don't have to worry about Blue's counterplay anymore. I forget what it's called already.
God Sealing Trunks?
Yeah, like you're able to establish 8 drops and then pretty much get a dual attack off that card.
Yeah, the 8-drop is still no deflect, no barrier, so it's very interactable with, but the fact that you can cast it for 2 as long as you've got your Trunks and Vegetas on the board makes it actually
sneaky.
yeah, it makes it sneaky, and it makes it worth running more copies than you used to. Like back in the day, you could really only fit 1 or 2 copies of that 8-drop in this deck, and now you want to run, I think, 3, because there's a chance your first one played just gets removed.
Well, I'm happy about that because it's actually such a pretty card, and you only have to put 1 in, but it's a good-looking card.
Oh yeah.
So instantly, when Jake charges Slug, I hate Slug so much. With everything in me, that yellow Slug, the 3-drop that keeps you from pulling cards from deck, doesn't make me happy.
Interestingly, though, both copies of the 1-drop Slug that I run are already on the table. 1 in the warp and 1 in my energy. So you're not gonna have to deal with the on-demand pay 1 energy rest a guy recurring effect that 1-drop is, but I can still hardcast that 3-drop, which can make things a little bit spooky.
Did you side those in?
For this game?
Yeah.
No, I mainboard them.
Okay. I couldn't remember if you mainboard them or not. I haven't played
Yeah.
your Trunks Vegeta in a while now. I think last time you played, I don't remember you putting it on board when you were on camera, so...
No, it's a pretty small package and a pretty small part of the deck overall. I mean, with the new 1-drop Goku Vegeta and Vegetos and these 1-drop Slugs, basically the entire deck is 1-drop that evolves. I think there's only 3 or 4 battle cards in my list that don't really meet that criteria, and you're seeing them all go to the warp here. Opting to warp a black card whenever possible is pretty relevant in this matchup because later on in the game, he has access to a ton of card draw for cheap if you have a lot of colored cards in your warp.
We call them non-black, Jake.
Fair.
But yeah, as soon as I saw you starting to charge some of those black cards, I was like, oh, he knows what my deck does, and I get, fair. That's fine. But yeah, I do play this particular variant of Raditz is a lot of fun with the black and green. I do run the SS4 Sun Gohans, both the double striker that warps a battle card play. It also has double strike at 60k, but also the negate that allows your opponent to only attack X number of times, where X is the number of colors in their energy, which has been pretty relevant recently. Decks.
Just real quick, I want to touch base. Jake, are you noticing his audio change just now?
Yeah, it's clipping a little bit. It's a little bit quiet, but it should be fine.
So real quick, you playing that Slug on a deck that doesn't really draw a lot in the first place, and then on top of that, you see in his drop is the Saiyan Instincts.
Yeah,
feels kind of good. I feel like
it's in his warp. He's already got to use the Saiyan Instincts, unfortunately. But really, if you pay attention, you see a 1-drop Trunks on the board and a 1-drop Vegeta under the leader, and nothing else really going. I've only seen 1-1 so far this game, and going ahead and tapping 3 for Slug was the only play I could have made that turn. So I decided to try and push some kind of a lead on the board at least, because he did draw 2 cards pretty much for free on the previous turn. So if I don't start applying some kind of pressure here, I feel like he's just going to kind of grind out the game, because he does have the life lead at this stage and really hasn't invested that much into the game. Like, I've already spent 2 poutines, I've already spent a robotic riposte. My entire slug package is either on the board in the warp or in the energy. Both poutines have already been expended, and he's pretty much still got full ammo. Like, all he's really played is this unison. So I've got to be really careful about letting the game slip away in the later stages.
Yeah, it's like a mix between 2 cards that will constantly thin your hand out, and then with it being green, Dormant's really good, but you managed to. It's like you dealt with it though.
Yeah, I think you were the first person to identify that I almost always go for this play, that when there's a unison on the table, I will swing with the lead and detach the Vegeta almost every time. But in this game, it kind of served an additional purpose, because now I can finally play it from the drop area and get multiple chains going.
And getting rid of my unison really hurts, because it's a 3-cost unison. There's not really a way to cheat it out. And so if I want to get another one on board, I got to spend basically all my green energy. And I need to have 1 green and 1 black up to be able to use my negate. And so it kind of puts me behind the 8 ball a little bit. Now I do play in my main board, I think 4 copies of Begrudging Allies for your riposte. It basically sends a 3-cost to warp instead of being played for 1 energy if I have life, which is a really underrated card in my opinion.
It's particularly strong against this deck, because most of my pressure, and being 3-drop slugs, 3-drop trunks, 3-drop Vegeta, all of those fit within Begrudging Allies window, and none of them have deflect. So it's a really strong card in this matchup if implemented at the right time.
Yeah.
I will say, on Jake's part, kudos. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, but kudos to knowing what to warp on the leader's swings, because the leader does maximize its ability if you have 4 or more cards in your warp that aren't black, if I recall correctly, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so like the fact that he warped 2 like Poutine, and I think I saw Mira, definitely slows down your ability to crit him.
Well, I do, and I'll have to look at it again, but I do believe on the leader it doesn't matter what color it is. I think just on the 1-cost Raditz it matters if it's non-black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And also, I think on the triple attack activation on the leader, those have to be non-black as well. 4 non-black to the bottom of the deck.
Yeah. So another reason I warped the Mira is just because so many of my cards are going to the warp anyway. Like, there's no guarantee I'll ever be able to cast it, because this deck does play from the drop area some. And that, combined with him warping the majority of my cards away, means that Mira's probably not going to get cast this game no matter what I do. Unless I do like a really gross play where I combo cards out of hand just to get them to the drop area to activate for Mira, which ends up being really risky. And then here,
okay, yeah.
I got it.
Well, it's one of those tricky situations. Now, you could have done it on that instance, I think.
Well, he's got to be at 4 life.
Oh, yeah, to play for 1. Yeah.
So I was gonna say, counterplaying also the leader swings play card is very tricky, because you have to, and this is what I.
We got a little bit ahead of ourselves. Yeah.
The first time I ever realized the effect on how that leader's worded, because it's all in the same auto, you have to declare a counterplay before they even choose if they're drawing or not. It's not. There's no option there. Like play a card if you don't like. So you have to counterplay beforehand. But then they go, all right, cool. I'm just gonna draw a card.
Yeah, although the way that I play the game, I typically say like auto and then just grab the card from the drop area and put it on the table. And in that case, I wouldn't begrudge my opponent for then playing a counterplay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I
it's clear what the intent was. Like
I think when it comes to
honestly,
us though, like I've gotten to the habit of
yeah,
where I've allowed you to because I'm like I'm never counterplaying your leader swing because I can't. Unless I'm playing a deck that plays afterwards, you know. But they have
yeah,
barrier on play. I mean, like when they come, so
yeah, difficult to interact with, and sometimes it's almost not worth it to spend energy on something your opponent's getting for free.
now were you fully aware of these trunkses, Adam?
No, anytime there's a wall of text, I usually, especially with it being a local game, I rely on my opponent letting me know what to do, which is just lazy on my part. So kids, don't be lazy.
I will say the benefit of that costs you no energy, and you've got a card out, and that's what you
Yeah, I
kind
thought
of
it was intentional.
that's what you kind of want to do against these trunkses. You want to be able to play a card very cheaply or free in order to proc their effects. That way, you can go into other stuff that you want to do in the turn.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what the plan was from the very beginning, guys.
Yeah, I thought it was
Big brain
intentional.
plays.
I was like, oh, that's pretty smart. He gets to warp a guy, and then, you know.
I just didn't want to see that Piccolo Gohan anymore. I said I can't let that live.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's a lot of recurring advantage.
Yeah.
So you guys catch us afterwards. Yeah.
Here's me trying to grab my 3 cards and then realizing, oh yeah, that's right. I can't pick those up because of good old Slug.
Yeah, and honestly, if you're at a regional and this happens to you, like you pick up your 3 cards and your opponent doesn't say anything, I don't know. I would be like, look, man, you didn't like call the effect, like call a judge or whatever. But since it was on camera, we made sure we
And
rectified everything.
I want to point out the video was obviously sped up to some degree. So there was more of a delay there than immediately just drawing the 3 cards because it did look like you played it immediately went straight into it, but
Yeah.
the video is sped up by 50%. So
Yeah. And gosh, yellow,
Yeah.
the counter. It's so nice. It's good.
It's
It's awesome.
it's honestly
Good.
the main
It's good.
reason I play the color.
it's the reason why a lot of people. I understand why people want this card to be hit, but it is 3 of your opponent's energy, and if you time things correctly, I think it's fine. Like I've waited
Yeah.
for certain points and go, all right, cool. Now if they were to counter here, they're tapped out, and then I know I can survive this turn. You just have to be able to play it that way. But like I said, I do understand the idea of like a counter in this situation does suck, and unless every other color has some form of way of kind of doing a similar method, it does kind of blow.
Yeah. In some situations it kind of creates like a Kobayashi Maru, if you've ever watched Star Trek, like an unwinnable situation where you're staring at an opponent with 5 open yellow and you're like, I could floodgate the first attack or like try and wait for them to spend energy, and it just becomes like a situation where you almost like outplay yourself just because the card exists. And I could see people being frustrated with that aspect of it.
Yep. There's that pretty father-son card coming in for the win.
Yeah, I think because it gets triple strike, right?
Yeah, triple
Yeah.
strike. So it's critical base, and then on the activate battle, it'll pop 2 opponents' battle cards in rest mode. You'll draw a card, and then it'll gain triple strike for the battle.
Yeah, really good. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind, there's buttons, there's links. Check them out. Bye.